All right, as you see there, very fiery debate that's ongoing right now on the House floor. This happening on a very busy day on Capitol Hill, as we're hearing not only there in the House chamber, but from senators as well leading up to their vote. But again, it is official now that that procedural vote that was held there in the Senate has now officially failed on the War Powers resolution. I do want to put this live vantage point before we slide away for our final 2-minute commercial break of the hour. The vantage point there of the Senate floor. Ultimately, this did fail. It is important to note this as well. Putting this up on your screen, the image there of Democratic lawmaker Senator John Fetterman, the Democrat from Pennsylvania. He was the lone voter at the time, Democratic lawmaker, to vote in the yeah column there on the War Powers resolution. Wanted to make sure we're able to give you all of these updates here on Live Now from Fox.
Hi, buddies. Adam is here. The President of the United States just completely lost his mind in public, and the meltdown is so extreme, so unhinged, so fundamentally revealing about who he really is, that it's going to reshape everything we thought we knew about his second term. Donald Trump went on Truth Social and absolutely exploded after the Senate voted on a War Powers resolution, a vote he actually won.
Going on right now on the Capitol, both on the House side and Senate side. Hi, everyone. Mike Pace here. Thanks so much again for joining us, continuing to be with you on the very latest with the strikes in Iran. Middle East conflict continues. Just moments ago on the Senate side, we saw debate early in the afternoon on the Iran War Powers resolution. The Senate vote just failed there as the Senate just shot down the Democrat-pushed War Powers resolution that would have reined in President Trump's Iran strikes. We did have two Republicans that voted against the party there, Senator Rand Paul and Senator Lisa Murkowski as well. Now what we want to do is take you out to the House side. There is not expected to be a vote on this side until tomorrow, but the debate is happening right now.
And his response tells you everything you need to know about how he views the Constitution, Congress, and anyone who dares to question his authority. Let me paint you the picture of what just happened because the details are insane. The Senate voted on a War Powers resolution regarding military action against Iran. The resolution was simple. It would require Congress to vote and approve any further military action beyond what's already happened. That's it.
The motion to discharge is not approved.
Overnight, Senate Republicans rejecting a bill to block further military action in Iran unless the president gets congressional approval first. The Constitution grants Congress the sole power to declare war.
The power to declare war is ours. If we give it up, then we are turning our back on the Constitution and our responsibility to the American people.
Only one Republican, Senator Rand Paul, joining the majority of Democrats to back the resolution. Most Republicans on Capitol Hill standing behind President Trump. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson saying the U.S. is not at war at all.
We're not at war right now. We're 4 days in to a very specific clear mission, an operation.
That's literally what the Constitution says is supposed to happen. Congress declares war. Congress authorizes military action. The Founding Fathers were very clear about this because they didn't want one person having the power to send Americans to die whenever they felt like it. The resolution failed. 53 votes to block it, 47 in favor.
But that's not what the president said just hours later when Johnson went to the White House.
I have to go back and look at the war. You know, I have a lot of things happening.
The president expressing confidence.
And we're doing very well on the war front, to put it mildly, I would say. Somebody said, on a scale of 10, where would you rate it? I said about a 15. And we're going to continue to do well.
On Capitol Hill today, the House is expected to vote on its own War Powers resolution. Democrats keenly aware that is likely to fail, but they do see this as an opportunity to get every member of Congress and every Republican on the record in this critical midterm election year, Robin.
Most Republicans voted to protect Trump's authority. He got exactly what he wanted. The resolution died. Congress cannot impose new restrictions on his ability to wage war against Iran without congressional approval. This is a win for Trump. This is him getting his way. And yet, he went on Truth Social and had a complete nuclear meltdown. He's calling people stupid. He's calling them traitors. He's threatening primary challenges against Republican senators who dared to vote against him. He's raging about how this vote, the vote he won, somehow undermines American self-defense and national security. He's acting like Congress just stripped him of all his powers and declared him a powerless figurehead, but they didn't. They did the opposite. They let him keep his powers. So why is he so angry? Because one Republican voted against him. That's it. One person. Rand Paul from Kentucky crossed the aisle and voted in favor of the resolution, one senator out of 53 Republicans, and Trump absolutely lost his mind over it. He made angry calls to GOP senators who supported advancing the war powers measure in the first place. He threatened political payback. He promised primary challenges. He basically declared war on anybody in his party who dares to question his military authority, all because one person voted against him. This tells you something fundamental about Donald Trump. This isn't about policy. This isn't about constitutional principles or what's right or wrong militarily. This is about control. This is about Trump's need to have total dominance over his party. This is about his inability to handle any dissent whatsoever, even a single vote against him. Every defection is treated like betrayal. Every moment of disagreement is treated like treason. Every senator who votes their conscience instead of voting for Trump gets threatened with political destruction. Think about what this means for how Trump operates. He doesn't want to lead a coalition. He doesn't want to persuade people and bring them along with him. He wants obedience. He wants loyalty. He wants everybody to fall in line and support everything he does, no matter what, no questions asked. And if you don't, if you dare to follow the Constitution or represent your constituents, he will come after you. He will threaten your career. He will work to primary you. He will use his influence to destroy you politically. This is the kind of behavior that destabilizes political parties. This is the kind of behavior that fractures coalitions because once senators and congressmen realize that voting their conscience will result in a primary challenge from the president's hand-picked candidate, they stop voting their conscience. They stop following the Constitution. They start doing whatever the president wants because their political survival depends on it. That's how you get a rubber stamp Congress. That's how you get a party that just does whatever the president wants without any independent thought or judgment. And that's exactly what Trump is trying to create. He's trying to build a system where his authority is never questioned, where Congress is purely ornamental, where Republicans just vote whatever way Trump wants them to vote, no matter what their constituents think or what the Constitution says. And when Rand Paul votes no, when one person defies him, he absolutely loses it. This isn't the first time this has happened either. Trump did the same thing in January with Venezuela. There was a war powers vote on Venezuela, and Trump threatened 5 GOP senators who didn't fall in line. 5. He said there would be political consequences if they didn't support him. That's not normal. That's not how presidents usually operate. Most presidents lose some votes. Congress has disagreements with them. Presidents accept that. That's democracy. But Trump doesn't accept it. Trump treats every defection like a personal betrayal, every vote against him like an act of war. So now you've got this pattern developing. Trump gives an order. Congress questions it. Trump responds with threats and anger. Congress gets scared and falls in line. That's the pattern. That's what's happening. And it's working so far. Trump's getting his way on most votes. But it's also creating a lot of fear and anxiety in the GOP. Senators and congressmen are realizing that they can't vote their conscience. They can't follow the Constitution. They can't represent their constituents if it goes against what Trump wants. They have to choose between their oath to uphold the Constitution and their political survival. This also connects to the bigger picture we've been tracking about Trump's coalition fracturing over the Iran war. The isolationist Republicans, the Rand Paul wing, they're already upset that Trump ordered these strikes without Congress. They're already upset that he broke his promise on America First. They're already upset that he's repeating the same mistakes that led to Iraq and Afghanistan. And now Trump's response to their dissent is to threaten them, to call them stupid, to promise political payback. That's not going to heal the rift. That's not going to bring the isolationists back into the fold. That's going to drive them further away. That's going to make them more determined to push back on Trump's military actions, because now it's not just about policy disagreement. Now it's personal. Now it's about whether Trump's going to respect the Constitution and the role of Congress. Now it's about whether Trump's going to have any constraints on his power at all. For the 2026 midterms, this is poison. This is exactly the kind of thing that's going to suppress turnout in certain parts of the GOP base. The libertarian Republicans, the anti-war conservatives, the constitutional conservatives, these are all parts of the Republican coalition that are going to look at Trump's behavior and think, why am I even bothering? Why should I vote for this guy if he's going to wage endless wars and threaten anybody who disagrees with him? And if those voters stay home, if they get demoralized, if they decide that the Republican Party isn't representing their values anymore, that's how you lose the House. That's how you lose seats in the Senate. That's how you blow a midterm that should have been easy for the party in power. So Trump's behavior here, his meltdown, his threats, his name-calling, it's not just about controlling Congress or punishing dissent. It's about his political survival. It's about whether he can hold together a coalition that's already showing serious cracks. The coalition that could actually limit Trump's power is forming right in front of us. Democrats plus Libertarian Republicans. Democrats plus Rand Paul plus Thomas Massie plus whoever else is unhappy with Trump's military adventures. That's a coalition that could grow if Trump keeps escalating. If he keeps ordering new strikes without Congress, if Iran escalates and the situation gets worse, that coalition could grow big enough to actually pass a war powers resolution. And then Trump would have to decide, does he veto it and basically declare himself king, or does he accept limitations on his authority? Either way, it's a lose-lose for him politically. Congress is going to keep fighting this. The war powers resolution failed this time, but it's not going to be the last one. Democrats and Libertarian Republicans are going to keep introducing resolutions. They're going to keep forcing Republicans to vote on this issue, and every time they do, they're going to expose this rift in the GOP. They're going to force Republicans to either vote with Trump or vote their conscience, and some of them eventually are going to choose their conscience. That's when you get the coalition big enough to actually pass something. That's when Trump's power actually gets limited. The most revealing part of all this is what it says about Trump's psychology. A confident president, a president who's secure in his power, doesn't need to threaten people who vote against him once. A confident president can handle dissent. A confident president can afford to lose a few votes. But Trump can't. Trump needs every single vote. Trump needs total obedience. Trump needs to know that he has absolute control. And when he doesn't get that, when one person votes against him, he panics, he lashes out, he threatens, he tries to intimidate people into line. That's the behavior of a president who's afraid, a president who's worried that his coalition is falling apart, a president who's concerned that he doesn't actually have the control he thinks he has. And that fear is justified because his coalition is fragile. It's held together by Trump's personality and the idea that he represents America first. But if Trump starts waging endless wars, if Trump starts ordering military actions without Congress, if Trump starts threatening anybody who dares to question him, then the America First coalition starts to fall apart. The isolationists leave. The constitutional conservatives leave. The people who voted for Trump because they wanted something different leave. And suddenly Trump doesn't have the power he thinks he has anymore. So he's panicking. He's trying to consolidate control. He's trying to intimidate people into line. But that's only going to make things worse. That's only going to drive more people away. That's only going to fracture the coalition further. Trump had a win on the war powers vote. The resolution failed. He got what he wanted, but instead of accepting victory and moving forward, he had a meltdown. He called people stupid. He threatened political punishment. He promised primary challenges. And that behavior is exposing something important. It's showing that Trump is panicking about his control over Congress. It's showing that he's worried about the coalition falling apart. It's showing that he's willing to destroy the Republican Party from the inside if it means maintaining total dominance. And that's a threat to the GOP. That's a threat to the midterms. That's a threat to the whole political system. Because when a president starts threatening members of Congress for voting their conscience, when a president starts trying to purge his own party of anybody who disagrees with him, that's when you get authoritarianism. That's when you get the kind of political system where there's no check on presidential power. And that's exactly what Trump is trying to create. The Constitution gives Congress the power to declare war for a reason. The Founding Fathers didn't trust any single person with that authority. They'd seen what happened when kings could send armies to die on a whim. They built a system where the people's representatives would have to vote before America goes to war. Trump is trying to destroy that system. He's trying to make himself the sole decider of when and where American soldiers die. And when Congress dares to even question that authority, he screams in rage and threatens to destroy anyone who stands in his way. This is the moment that defines Trump's second term. This is the moment when the mask comes off completely. This is the moment when even his own party has to decide whether they're going to be a rubber stamp for authoritarianism or whether they're going to defend the Constitution they swore to uphold. Rand Paul made his choice. The question is how many others will follow.